Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, let's do that again. That sounded good. Good morning.
Good morning.
I greet you in peace, love, and joy this morning. It's just a beautiful, wonderful day, and praise God, we are alive and well right here at Miracle Center for Spiritual Living at 2653 South Taylor Road in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. As we begin our service this morning, I would like you to join with me as we invoke the invocation. The invocation is seeing what God is doing in this service this morning. So I invite you to simply close your eyes with open hearts, open ears, being open and receptive to the movement of spirit. We recognize without question that there is but one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is whole. That life is complete. That life is my life, the life of each one of you within the sound of my voice. That life is the life of everyone that joins us on Zoom. For the universal presence, the omni-action of spirit is everywhere present equally at the same time throughout this universe, throughout every living entity. It's all God. A divine movement, a divine vibration of love and peace and joy. So as we identify with that and consciously align ourselves with this divine movement of love and peace and joy and all the magnificent good God is, we align ourselves with all the attributes of spirit, all the omnipotence, all the omniscience, all the omni-action of spirit. So as we identify that in this morning service, we identify every word that is spoken is blessed. That every movement, every thought, every feeling is blessed because it's all the action of the God that is within. We bless all the activity this morning. We bless our illustrious minister, Reverend June Clark, as she brings us that spiritual lesson, those words of truth and wisdom this morning. And yes, we bless Gilbert, our musician. We bless Chris. We bless everyone that participates in this morning service. We bless those individuals within the sound of my voice. We bless those that are with us on Zoom. We bless this universe for the omni-action of God as love is all there is. So I decree that this morning's service is an example of that expression of divine love and peace. That this morning's service is a spiritual experience because we know God is here, alive and active. I bless this morning's service, knowing that it is all good, all well. I bless this universe, for it's all God. And if you're in agreement with me with the words that I've spoken this morning, simply affirm with me. And so it is, and so I let it be. Amen. Yes. So as we move forward, I would like to read to you Awakening Our Perspective. And this is the science of mind point of view. We are emanations of the divine. Each of us is unique and at the same time unified through various experiences, identities, and the mere fact that we are alive. When we are clear about who we are, our various giftings, experiences, identities, we can more fully show up and allow others to more fully show up as the emanations of God that they are. We can know God more deeply and reveal an experience of inclusion in our lives and communities when we have good self-awareness and awareness of others. Wow. Let me repeat that. We can know God more deeply and reveal an experience of inclusion in our lives and communities when we have good self awareness and awareness of others. Powerful. And now, without further ado, allow me to bring forth Reverend June Clark, who will give us a message. Who are we? Who are we?
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Oh, it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day, as you can see. I'm bright and sunny and wide-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. It is a really bright day. Thank you. Just a little bit. That's better. Thank you. Well, who are we? Sometime I wonder, don't you? Sometime you wonder. I brought the magazine today. If you have it, it's really interesting. I find it so interesting how timely everything is, and especially on today's reading. I'm going to read. I didn't get this to Fran quick enough, but I'm going to read the two top references. And the first one, well, the title is "Who Are We?" Do we not all have one Father? Has not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously each against his brother, so as to profane the covenant of our fathers? And that's from Malachi 2:10. In our human relations, if our human relations are to mean the most to us, we must sense that there is hidden within, around, and through each of us a divine presence manifesting itself in infinite variations, the same impulse, the same love and life, but never quite alike in any two persons. And that's from Ernest Holmes, from the Science of Mind text. And what I found extremely interesting about this, and makes me always question about how timely everything is, if you read this all the way through today, I'm going to just say a couple words in here. Pandemics, police brutality, protests, these are real. Recession, depression, voter suppression, these are real conditions in our world. I am not the pandemic. I am not police brutality. I am not the protest. I am not homeless. I am not discrimination. I am not recession, depression, or voter suppression, or am I? And the thing I found fascinating, this magazine is dated August 2020, volume 93, number 8. I know that this magazine was not put together on August 1st, 2020. I cannot fathom when this article was written to be so inclusive of August 9th, 2020. I know and recognize the woman who wrote for this month, and she is on the national board, I guess that's what they still call it, and she's a writer. But doesn't it make you wonder? It makes me wonder just how timely and how in the future, you get an article written for a magazine that's going to be published, but how perfectly timely that is today.
There is but one mind.
What did you say?
There is but one mind.
There is but one mind. Stuff like that fascinates me. So if you have the book, CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, has begun to produce the magazine in complete synchronicity with the messages of the months for the year. So this one is definitely right on and perfect. And maybe I'll give them a call to see what kind of timelines they use to incorporate everything so perfectly. So thank you, Fran, for your reading this morning. I'm going to be hopping around. If you have the notes, I'm going to be hopping around, doing some here, some there, not just in the flow that it's written. Because for me, when I pick something out to send to Susie to publish for the Sunday, it's pretty much set in my mind at that time. And then, of course, when it's time to present it or look at it again and decide what I'm going to say about what I've decided earlier, it shifts. You know, one's mind shifts, the consciousness shifts, what's going on in your world shifts. So I'm going to start. The focus that I came to yesterday as I was going through and preparing for this morning and into the evening and the night last night was the word awareness was very prevalent in my thought patterns. Self-awareness, unity of life, oneness, allness, the perspective of looking at, as the magazine referred to, the outline that was given of things that are occurring with us, to us, and as us daily. And then the word love, and that's my theme for probably from now until November 3rd. To be honest about it and not to be political about it, but till November 3rd and beyond. That's what we need. We need love. And if you take that 4-letter word, I won't get off on that because then I'll be over time. But if you take the word love and you incorporate it into everything, every other word that we talk about, that we use, and today it's going to be, who are we? And we ought to be saying we are love. And we ought to be not just saying it, but we ought to be knowing it. And that was a big force that was relating and rumbling around in my head as I was just looking at what are these notes? What is in here? What is in the Bible? What is it that we refer to? And they're words. They're just words. And too often they are empty words. And some of them that are not empty these days that are standing out are the other 4-letter word, which is hate. So we've got to take what we research, what we read, what we know, and not just allow it to be words. So that was very, very significant as I was reviewing what I wanted to share today. So the message, who are we? And then my title, you must know I am the I am. That's what we must know. That's what we must embrace beyond letters that fit together to make words. We must embrace this knowingness. So the readings start out here, the references with a reference from Thomas Merton, very interesting monk, a little Catholicism here. The beginning of love is the will to let those we love be perfectly themselves. The resolution not to twist them to fit our own image. To love one another enough, not to twist them to fit our own image. That's big. If we can love everyone, regardless of all the typical race, creed, color, gender, I don't know, maybe there's some more, I don't know. But if we can just love, doesn't mean you're crawling in bed with everybody. That's really not love anyway. Sometimes it's a little disappointing, as a matter of fact. But just to love, just to see people as an incarnation of God, just like I am, just like each and every one of us is. Not to judge, not to try to fit them into a category, just love, whether they're in Russia, whether they're in China, whether they're in Africa, whether they're right around the corner, whether they're imprisoned. Many of us are imprisoned and we're out here free walking around. We're imprisoned in a lot of stuff. So I don't want to dwell on that too much. Don't want to dwell on it too much. But only their potential likeness to ourselves. If in loving them, we do not love what they are, but only their potential likeness to ourselves. Think how narrow that is, just narrow. Then we do not love them. We only love the reflection of ourselves we find in them. And that includes people we don't know. It includes our family members. It includes everyone. There are family members who are shunned because of shades of colors of their skin. There are family members who are shunned because, well, they're only a half brother, a half sister. There are those who are shunned because, well, you know how they are. You know that side of the family. What? So moving right along, creating a culture of inclusion. That's another word that is a word, inclusion. Creating a culture of inclusion starts with creating a culture of awareness. That was a big word for me, awareness. Awareness is to be awake. If you want to repeat the word again, aware. What are you aware of? What are you awake to? What are you noticing? What are you accepting? What are you believing? What are you rejecting? Even in rejection, or in fact, more so in rejection, is an awareness. I think it takes a lot more to reject something than to just let it be, because then we're really thinking about it, we're examining it, we're picking it apart. So awareness in rejection. I liken a self-awareness strategy to having a full-length mirror. Self-awareness, another little tag onto awareness. Self-awareness. What do you know about yourself? Who are we? Who am I? Self-awareness. Do we decide that we're the person who flatters us all the time? Do we decide that we're the folks that we hang around when we don't do much hanging around now with the pandemic, but are those the people that we miss the most? Are we self-aware because we can read Tolstoy or read French or read a comic book? What's the self-awareness? How do you grade yourself as to who you are and how you are and what you're going to be and what you're going to do and what you're going to say and what you're going to think and what you're going to buy and what you're not going to buy, and are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Is that based on self-awareness, or is it based on what the majority of people think you're going to do, or the majority of people think you are, or maybe just one particular person? They think I'm going to do this, so that's okay. And I probably ought to do that because really want to please that person. So where does the self come in there? Where does pleasing yourself come in? Where does believing in who you are as an individualized expression of God come in? Self-awareness. Full-length mirrors. That's all I got to say. I don't really like them, but anyway, because the success of inclusion depends on the authenticity of your leadership. The authenticity. Is a full-length mirror authentic? You ever been to a carnival where they have 5 or 6 different kind of mirrors? Which one do you choose? Some of them you look like this, some of them you look like this, and then some of them you look like this. So what's so authentic about looking in a mirror? In fact, it reflects backwards. It reflects opposite, just like this camera reflects backward. And you probably are not aware of that because you can't see this side. And how much of ourselves can we see that is this side or the other side or the mirror image or the truth? Mirror image is not the truth. So be aware of that. Be conscious of that. Moving on. We are a multitude. Oh my goodness, yes. Each person contains myriad. I think that's more than 1 billion. Who knows? I don't know. Myriad identities. Little intrigue there. Identities. And the song, Who Are You? Ooh, 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 ooh. Who are you? It's one of the television shows. Theme. Who are you exactly? Are you the 16-year-old that just lived life without really considering too much about what was going on in the world? Are you the 21-year-old who decided now I'm grown as I can get? Are you the 5-year-old or the 2-year-old that throws temper tantrums when you don't get your way? Myriads of identities. Or are you the one that hides behind the smiles and the laughter, and inside the pain is almost unbearable? Who are you? Which identity are you today? Which identity all we can be is the one at this moment. I was going to say from the past and I did, or to the future. It's exactly who you are this moment with this breath. but it encompasses so much. It encompasses the wrongs that you felt were done. It encompasses, ooh, I missed that by that much. You know, it encompasses everything that we've experienced in our life, and it is our identity. And it is seen by a multitude of the multitude that's around us. We're seen as different people. We're seen in different roles. We're seen as different personalities. So who are we really? If we can say, I am the I am, that's enough. If you can say, I am a divine image and likeness of God, it's enough. Because of the multitude and the multiplicity of the one, we're safe. We're safe within that, to just know that. And that goes beyond any words. So the last sentence here, we are beloved and a blessing in the world, in this world. Do you really believe that? That you're a blessing in this world, that this world would be different, that it would be less than without your presence. You are a beloved. We are beloved and a blessing in this world. Every single one of us. Not the ones we pick and choose, but all of us. And I didn't bring the Bible today, but I did look this up in the Bible, and I'm going to read it and reference it from the Science of Mind textbook on page 493, the unity of life. And it's from Ephesians 4, verse 1 through 7. And Holmes has reshaped it into his own language. But if you get a chance, read that chapter and then those verses from Ephesians. And Holmes says, the unity of the Spirit is kept through the bonds of peace. The bonds of peace. Other than peace suggests confusion and separation. Not just in the global leadership patterns, people. They're really people. They're humans. They're one of us that are trying to control and set up parameters for the rest of us to live by. Other than peace suggests confusion and separation. The Spirit is a perfect unit, and we harmonize with this unity when we maintain a state of peace in our minds. No matter what these humans who are in positions that we are not in, but we're in control. Never lose fact of that. We're in control. They are one at a time, individualized expressions of God. We are, as a unit of thinking human beings who think peace, know love, we're in control. This is a quote. There is one body and one spirit. We must remember that. Every day, the numbers go up here, the numbers go down there. And unfortunately, the numbers that we're focusing on today are numbers that are of the pandemic, not of how many people need more money to eat. The numbers, think about the numbers and think about peace. And perhaps those human beings who are in leadership in every country of the world might get our message somehow, that there are numbers that we as individualized expressions of God feel are important and that count more than ballots in a sense. The entire creation is this body, the body of God, who is one spirit. Within this one body are all bodies, not just some bodies, all bodies. That is within the one creation, which is the product of the one spirit, are all bodies. All bodies. So we have to know that there's a unity in life. And that's what Ephesians, that chapter is, the unity of life. And we must focus on and pray on and know. Don't lose track. Don't lose track in all the hype and all the discussions and all the words and all the manipulations of who's right, who's wrong, party affiliations. None of that matters. We are all bodies of Christ, the Christ. And we must keep our control. We must keep the focus on peace. We must keep the focus on love. So moving on to the next section that we have outlined here, seeing ourselves more clearly. Within this time of quietness, and it is quiet, there's for most of us in our homes, I think the age group that I'm speaking to, most of us don't have on a continuous basis young children in our homes. I don't know, I might be wrong, but most of the time my house is quiet. It's quiet, I'm alone. I am getting more and more inclined toward not just putting on the television for noise, because that's what it is, it's noise. And I can be quiet, and I can know I'm okay within the quiet. So seeing ourselves more clearly. When we see ourselves more clearly and can celebrate who we are, often becomes easier with the help of trusted friends, colleagues, family, spiritual community members, therapists. We call them practitioners. Maybe if you need somebody to talk to, they're not therapists by any means, but call each other. The other day, somebody called, it might have been Jerry, called me, and I said hello, and I said, hello. And I said, oh, excuse me, I haven't talked to anybody yet today. It is like maybe 11:30 in the morning. I didn't know I sounded like a bear. He said, don't you talk to yourself? I said, yeah, but not out loud. So, I'm my own therapist sometimes. But there are times when I just need to talk to somebody, and I don't have a dog anymore. Dogs are great therapists, and some people say cats are too, but I'm not a cat person. So anyway, there's all these avenues of allowing ourselves to look at ourselves more clearly through others. Because pretty much when I think something, I think I'm pretty darn correct. I think I've got it. I know it. It's this way, and it is not any other way. But somehow, when you get to talking to other folk, it may not be exactly what I think or honestly what I feel. Sometimes it's easier to feel or think a certain way because maybe I don't want to look at myself clearly. So always be aware, know yourself, look at yourself, think to yourself, talk to yourself, to see where we might have picked up on some subconscious biases along the way. Oh, I'm not prejudiced. No, you would never say that of me. But if I really think about it, there's stuff I don't like that maybe somebody else likes. Maybe there are, well, things like asparagus. You know, I know a lot of people love it. I ate some the other day, only because I felt like my vitamin deficiency. See, I know myself, so. But I'm being facetious. But think about it. What do you have a bias about? What do you really decide? No, I don't like that. You know, that person I met, I don't know about them. You know those people that wear their pants this way? Oops, I heard a You know, be honest. I don't like to see it either. But is it any of my business? Did I buy the pants? Is it my body that's cold in the parts where the pants are not covering? I don't know. We have biases, and it's okay. Just don't allow them to exclude your love of anything or anyone. We as humans, because of how our brains work, tend towards categorizing people and experiences when we pair that with systems around us that promote and have historically promoted inequity and cultures of supremacy. That's not being prejudiced. It's a little ignorant. There is no supremacy. For someone to realize that fact, those of us who are loving, who are understanding, who are accepting, who are truth bearers, who know that we are one with the one, and so is everyone, we know there is no supremacy. What we have to do is be supreme. We're all supreme. And we have to not allow those who think that there is some supremacy to make us think anything other than we are supreme. Always hold that in your mind. Always know that in your heart. We are one. A few minutes ago, I read about all of us being one. How can there be a supremacy level of folk if we're all one? If we're from the same Father, how can there be a supreme level of being? And if you allow another entity to feel that they're supreme over you, then grab the Bible, call a practitioner, call a minister, get a different perspective. Go and look in that mirror and know I am one with God. And there's no other level anywhere in anybody else that is not one with God. So continuing this sentence, inequity and cultures of supremacy, we adopt some biases that do not serve us well in loving ourselves and others in a fully realized way. See, that's the key. Whose realization are you paying attention to? Your truth or somebody else's feeling or thinking that such and such is true and it's not. So I'm going to skip around today. So let me see. I'm going to do the awareness is a tool, and then our reader's going to come up, and then I'm going to go back to the call to action. Awareness is a tool. We all need something. When something's broken, we need a tool. Even if it's our hand to turn a knob, it becomes a tool. We need a toolkit. We need whatever it is that assists us in correcting something. So self-awareness is an extraordinary tool in putting inclusion into action, because when we become self-aware, there is a much greater opportunity for healing, hearing our genuine truth, claiming our beauty and power, and becoming aware of our subconscious biases, so that we might understand how they play into our beliefs and our behavior. Beliefs and behavior. I'm not prejudiced. What's your behavior? I'm not prejudiced. What's your behavior? Come on. What do you really believe about yourself? What do you believe about others? What about the word inclusion? What about the word awareness? What about the word subliminal or subjective biases? What about the word biases? It's okay. You don't have to like asparagus. You be a champion like me. No, just kidding. But you don't have to like everything. You have to love everybody. You really do. You have to love everybody. You don't have to like them. There were times, there's a song, there's a time in my life when I had to do it all over again. There were times I didn't like my children. I'm leaving out husbands because that goes along with the territory. But you know, there's things that people do. I can remember being a teenager, and I thought my mother was, I didn't see eye to eye at all, let alone with my father, but with my mother, I don't like you. You know. But you must love everyone and everything, because there is only one thing going on, and that is God is all there is. God is all there is. There is nothing more. It's that simple. Truly, truly simple. So the tools, getting back to the tools, that was a long sentence there. Healing cannot happen without honest inquiry into the self. Does it matter that anyone in this room that is before me, that they agree with something that I disagree with, if I do not change my own thinking, my own awareness, my own choice? It really doesn't matter. I must go within. I must examine my biases. I must know that I am one with God. I am the I am. Just as every single person on this planet is the I am. We're all one. We're just wonderful, wonderful human beings, placed on this earth with attributes of forgiveness, leaving us the space that we can say, I don't like, but I know I love. So with our human perspective, our reader's going to come up and read a portion here from a wonderful, wonderful mystic.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Marcia Woody, and I'm your reader for today. There is value in getting clear about our identities, individual and collective, and what we're bringing to the table. Standing in our power and celebrating the identities of others is a gift. It also helps us foster inclusion. There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And that is from Howard Thurman. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Are you always going to be on the end of strings that someone else pulls? Many of us have lived several years on this planet. We've got a few years to go. You can cut strings, cut them with prayer. You can cut strings with understanding. You can cut strings with knowing. You can cut strings with that 4-letter word, love. So I want to read from The Science of Mind before I close. And it's on page 248.5 and 249.1. The first step toward healing is one of honest self-analysis. What has been our habitual feeling towards persons around us? Habitual, continuous, not adjusting our thinking, just continuing to have the same thoughts and the thought patterns and the thought actions. I'm going to read that again. What has been our habitual feeling toward persons around us? Have we really tried to let them live as they see fit, while claiming the same feeling for ourselves? A good treatment for this would be: there is no irritation, frustration, or resentment in my life. Any sense of inner agitation is now wiped away. And in its place, there comes a warm sense of my oneness in essence and experience with all the good there is. The center of my being is understanding and intelligence. I am calm, poised, and at peace with the world. That's on page 248 and 249. And during this time of recognition of what the world needs now is love, you might just want to type that out and hang it around the house in several places where you will see it. Because we must be inclusive We cannot exclude anyone or any part of our livingness. So with that thought, we'll go into spiritual mind treatment. If Gilbert, if you would play something for us. And examine your heart. In today's world, there is inclusion. There is harmony. There is peace. Don't say we're going to have it. Know that we are it. Know that there is only love. Know that there is peace. Know that we dwell in the heart and the minds of one another. So rather than excluding anyone for any reason, bring the reasons you might exclude them into your own heart, because you are loving, you are inclusive, you are peace, you are joy, you are harmony, you are prosperity. And this is the beginning of a treatment, is the recognition of God. The recognition of God. And the next step in the treatment is knowing that you are one with that wonderful, wonderful, beyond words expression of God. We cannot fit into our mind the qualities and the awareness and the specialness and the awness of God. Yet we are one with it. I am that I am. One with the Father. And because we are one, speak your word of what you want in your life to be. We want peace because we are peace. We want love because we are love. We want resolution to anything that appears unlike the glory and the beauty and the essence and the truth of God. Food for all, medical assistance for all, peace of mind for all, harmony and joy and love for all, from all to all, because we are one. And what is true of one is true of all. And we look for that positivity in everything we think, say, and do. Bias keeps us thinking forward and keeps us aware of putting more and more love into our lives. We all have to remind ourselves, love one another as I love you, as you are me, as I am you. No division in any way. What the world needs now is love. We're going to play that as our benediction song, and Fran will give us our benediction. And as the song plays, I give thanks at this moment for our offerings. We're going to do our offerings here in the sanctuary and appreciate those of you who mail in your offering, giving thanks as you assist us as we grow and as we move forward. In closing this prayer with simply love, simply our knowing our heart beats, and every heartbeat is love, is love, is love. And as long as we know love, we have love, and we know that I am that I am, we are complete. Knowing that this is our truth, I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. So we're gonna have our theme song for now until and beyond, November 3rd. So it's a different one this week. So relax and enjoy, and we'll do collection here. And then Fran will be doing our benediction.
Thank you, Gilbert. As we bless our offering, let us just let those words that Spirit has spoken through our minister, Reverend June, just resonate within our souls. What the world needs now is love, not just in words, as Reverend June pointed out, but in actions. Actions. So as we leave this sacred place this morning, we leave it in an attitude of gratitude, being thankful for the lesson, being thankful for the music, being thankful for each other, being thankful for the presence of God that flows through us in such a beautiful way. As we leave this sanctuary, let us leave this sanctuary knowing that we're divinely guarded, guided, connected, and protected for right where we are. Right where we are. All the love, all the peace, all the joy, all the power is. And that is God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.